Hello and welcome to lecture 5 of Material Science and Metallurgy. In this lecture, we are going to begin with densities. In this video of lecture 5, I will introduce the significance of densities along a particular direction or along a particular plane. And in upcoming videos, we will see how to calculate densities. To understand the significance of densities, I am taking an example of a drill bit. So all of you are aware of drill bit, and this drill bit is just subjected to torsion. And what torsion means is that if you hold this drill bit in two clamps, one on the left hand side and the other on the right hand side, and then on the left hand side you rotate the drill bit in this direction, and on the right hand side you rotate the drill bit in this direction, then we can say that this drill bit is subjected to torsion. So remember that both the movements should occur at the same time. At the same time, you should apply this clockwise movement on the left hand and counterclockwise movement on the right hand at the same time. Then that drill bit is subjected to torsion. Now, if you take a brittle material like chalk in your hand and you apply the uh, same type of or same kind of forces on the chalk, then it will break in a way that is shown in this picture here. Okay, so this is the specimen shown in this picture, and you can particularly focus on this portion, or we call that as a failure region or failure surface. Okay, and it means that if I draw a line, then as if this is the axis of the specimen, then this particular line will be inclined at an angle of 45 degrees roughly, approximately, with the axis of that specimen. Now, this kind of failure occurs when brittle materials are subjected to torsion. So you can easily perform this experiment with chalk. So you just take a chalk and hold the chalk with both hands at the ends of the chalk, and then twist it by rotating your left hand in clockwise and rotating right hand in counterclockwise direction, or in opposite at the same time. Then you will see that the failure surface of the chalk also appears like this. Now, why this failure surface is at a particular angle? Okay, so failure of metals occurs in a particular direction inside the crystal structure. Okay, so if you take this portion, if you focus on this region while it was fine or before the test, okay, it was not broken before the test, it was complete, then let's say that this is the picture of the crystal structure. Okay, then after applying the forces, what happens is that along a certain plane, let's say along that plane, the atoms start moving, and there is a criteria for this plane. We'll see it later on, and this has directly to do with density along that particular plane. Okay, or maybe a particular direction inside that plane. So maybe that direction inside that plane, and that's how the failure surface uh, is generated, or the uh, the failure occurs along a particular plane inside the crystal structure, and this is due to the density along that particular plane. Okay. So I hope you understood what I wanted to say on this particular slide, and the conclusion is that the failure starts on a particular plane and a particular direction on that particular plane, and that's why the densities on that plane, or atomic densities along that plane and in that particular direction, play an important role in causing the failure of the material. Okay, so that's why it is important to understand the densities. Okay, so we will see what is a planar density, what is a linear density shortly. So let us consider an FCC unit cell. So this is an FCC unit cell, and a particular direction in this FCC unit cell is shown, and that direction is 110 direction. Okay, so hopefully by now you must have understood the indexing of the directions. And if you take the top view of the bottom plane, so that is the bottom plane, or maybe top plane, that doesn't matter, then these are exactly the atoms or arrangement of atoms in the bottom plane. So this is this corner item, then this is this corner item, this corner item, and that corner item, and finally the face centered item. So that is the atomic arrangement in the bottom plane of the FCC crystal structure. Okay. Now, in this plane, in this bottom plane, a particular direction is shown 110, and there are three atoms along or on this direction. Okay, so this corner atom, this face centered atom, and that corner atom. Okay, so shown here, those are the three atoms on that direction. And if we try to compare another direction or atomic arrangement along another direction, let's say maybe a direction like that. So if you understand indexing, then this direction will be 1, 0, 0, assuming that this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and that is z-axis. Then this is 1, 0, 0 direction. And now, if I try to compare the uh, atomic arrangement, so on the in the top view, that direction is this. So there are two atoms on that direction. So that means we can say that the packing along the direction 110 is more dense as compared to the packing, atomic packing along 100 direction. Okay, so this is significant. This has some significance while understanding or studying the failure of the materials. So atomic packing along different directions, along different planes, has to do something with the failure of the materials. Now, it's the same picture, but instead of direction, now we are considering a plane, 100 plane. So this is 100 plane. You must understand indexing for this. Sorry. So you must understand. So this is 100 plane, and we are talking about this 100 plane. Okay, assuming again that this is z-axis, this x-axis, and that is y-axis. So that's a 100 plane, and the atomic arrangement across that 100 plane is shown in this picture. So if you look at the front view, that's how the atoms in that plane look like. So four corner atoms and one face centered atoms. As compared to another plane, if we try to have another plane, maybe a 111 plane, so that is the 111 plane. I think I've shown this on the next slide. Sorry, this is 110 plane. So this again, this is x, y, and z. Then this is 110 plane FCC crystal structure, and the atomic packing is shown here in this picture. And you can see that the atomic packing in 110 plane is different than 100 plane, and this is 111 plane. So 111 plane, and the atomic packing along this plane is shown in this picture. So you see how the atomic packing is different on different planes. And by atomic packing, what I mean is how densely the atoms are packed inside the plane. On some planes, like 100 plane, the atoms are not much densely packed as they are on 111 plane. Okay, so we will later on calculate the planar densities, and higher the planar density, closer is the atomic packing on a particular plane. So there are two densities that we consider for calculations. So first is planar density. Uh, in a particular unit cell, we consider a plane and we want to see how much of the area of the plane is occupied by the atoms in that plane. So suppose we have, I'm representing atoms as circles here instead of sphere, because this can be visualized as a plane slicing a sphere through its center. So if there are four corner items, there are only four corner items, there is no face centered item. And uh, if I'm looking at the area of this plane in the hatched portion, so if this is the area of the plane, I should use a different color actually. Uh, okay, so that is the area of the plane, and let's say that in this particular plane of certain crystal unit cell, there are only four corner items. There is no face centered item. So those are the four corner items. So out of the total area, red hatched area, only this small portion at the corners, at four corners, are occupied by these four corner atoms. Okay, so which means that most of the area in this plane is empty. Okay, only this small semicircular, sorry, quarter circles at the corners are occupied by the atom. So of course we are considering atoms as circles. Okay. Same thing for linear density. So next is linear density. So planar density tells us how much of the area inside a plane in a particular plane of a unit cell is occupied by the atoms in that plane. Similarly, linear density. So we have a particular direction, and let's say there are three atoms along this direction, one atom at the corner, one in the middle, and the third at the other corner. Okay, so again, how much area of each of those items is intersected, or uh, through how many atoms, or through how many centers of items this direction passes through or intersects. So this is the first center, this is second center, this is the third center. So if this direction passes through or intersects or touches the center of that item is considered to be on that direction. Okay, and once we are sure of how many atoms are there on that particular direction, then we can find out linear density. Okay, so linear density is then simply uh, how much length on that direction is captured or occupied uh, by the items on that particular direction. Okay, so if this is the length of this direction, if that is the length of the direction, then this much portion of this left hand item So the radius of that item, then the diameter of this item, and the radius of that item. So out of the total length of that direction, this much radius, sorry, so I'm doing for clarity, uh, this much, this plus that radius plus the diameter of this plus the radius of this. So this much, so, so the total of these three is occupied by the items on that particular direction. So see, if capital L is the length, then out of the capital L, suppose the atomic radius is small r and the diameter is twice r, then the radius of this item plus the diameter of that item, so all atoms are of same size, plus the radius of this item roughly, okay, is occupied by the atoms, and this is the formula for linear density, sorry, the formula for linear density. Okay, so now what you will have to do is to calculate this ratio. L should be represented in terms of R. Okay, then only it will be possible for us to calculate that ratio. So we will see it in the upcoming videos. See you in the next video.